Took us a little bit to get here.
We made it. Yeah. So thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to an Ode to Birth podcast. Today, I'm here with a previous client of mine, Sami Chesa. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for being here. There's a story that I share with a lot of people, and you don't know this, so I'm telling you now.
Okay.
For those of you listening and you've heard me talk about birth before, you're the woman that taught me that women, when they're left alone during birth, really know how to listen to their bodies and really know how to listen to their babies. So we're in the birthing process. Your labor looked very graceful, very beautiful until the wee hours of the morning, and you're on the toilet.
Yeah, I
and
remember
you
that.
come down onto your hands and you're like in dolphin pose, and your bum is up in the air and you're just shifting your hips back and forth. And I could tell you're just helping with some repositioning. And you look up at me, and this is the first time in your labor where things looked hard.
Yeah.
And you're just like, Madison, I'm going to throw up, and then I'm going to get into the tub, and then the baby is coming. And I'm like, okay, full trust. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right? And
yeah.
everybody's sleeping. It's just you and I. And she pukes, crawls into the tub, and you didn't vomit at all throughout the labor at all. So we knew this was
it was a
shift.
transition phase. Like we could feel it coming, and it was like, okay, I'm transitioning. It's coming. Totally aware of that moment. Yeah.
And you just get into the tub, couple contractions and pushing, and he's here.
Totally.
And so you taught me in that moment that I don't have to do anything, because when a woman is in that transcendent state, she's attuned to her baby, and she knows what's going on in her body. Nobody can tell you what you need to do.
No, I feel like that would just, that just stops things from happening the way they need to happen, right? Whenever someone comes in and interferes with what they think should happen, there's no control over anything, and birth is that one thing. There's zero control.
Right. It's a full act of surrender.
Yeah.
And it's scary because there's a lot of intensity in the body, in the physical body, and what the mind could be perceiving as pain. This hurts. This is so painful. So let's go back and chat a little bit about your 3 births.
Yeah. Because
you moved through the system with your first 2 births and then ended up birthing your 3rd out of system.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Before I had kids, I was a yogi, devoted yogi, and I remember hearing a birth story, and it was a good friend of mine in Colombia. She birthed her child in the river, and she wrote about her birth story. I read it, and it was a pivotal moment in my life. I remember very clearly where I was when I read it and what I experienced. I was mind blown. I didn't know that people could birth children outside of a hospital. Like, to me, that was, and I was a yogi, and I'm just like, what? Like, this is a real thing?
Was the baby born in the water? That's all I want to know.
The baby was born in the water.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Right. So just like, I'm like, okay, so that took me down a whole, a rabbit hole, so to speak, of just like this different way of birthing. And I always said, okay, like, for sure, if I ever have kids, well, I knew I wanted to have kids. It's just in a matter of when. I would always have a home birth. I would not be going to a hospital. Like, I wanted everything to go as natural as possible. So when I came back from India, Zane Ocean came into my womb, and it was an instant, like, we're having a home birth. And for my husband, that was very unfamiliar. For all of his family, that was unfamiliar. For my family, that was unfamiliar. So the real work was getting everybody prepped for that and to accept that. And I guess a lot of like my work as well. But because it was so unknown, the experience of what is actually going to happen when I birth, I wanted, a midwife there so I could, ask questions. I wanted to do the ultrasound. I wanted to see my baby inside of me, kind of have that experience. But then with Gia, I started realizing that there was so much fear on their behalf. And of course, they have to cover all of their exes and do all the things that they think are going to keep everybody safe.
They're following standard operating procedures,
Correct.
right? And
Yeah.
it's like, that's totally fine because they're like, they go to school and they learn there's a way that we do things here and we're following operating procedures and you don't have to comply, but we need to at least make a note that you're declining our care.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But so for a lot of women, when they start asking these questions, they start, oh, we need to do second testing. We need to do this. We need to check for this. It can cause a lot of anxiety. And so with Gia, there was a moment when they said, it doesn't feel like she's in the right position. It feels like she is feet down, and we need to go do another ultrasound. And that was like confronting one of my biggest fears. I was like, okay, is this baby feet down? What is going on? And then once they do the ultrasound, the baby is now measuring like 12 pounds. And I'm like, and so they call me and they go, baby's super big, but in optimal position. So we're going to put you in contact with a gynecologist and you can proceed with them because most likely it's going to be a C-section. And I said, I'm going to kindly decline and I'm going to continue on with my birth plan. The accuracy of that ultrasound is probably far from what my baby weight is actually weighing at right now.
Right.
And yeah, she birthed at home. She was 9 pounds. But wasn't 12 and
still could have probably birthed a 12-pound baby.
Oh, I mean, if you grow the baby, you can birth the baby. Like, nature is so beautiful. Why would we ever question it? But yeah, so all of that fear and everything that I felt, and then obviously, oh, it's been a while. If things don't progress, we're going to have to take you to the hospital. Like, what are those comments while I'm in a birth portal? Like, get out of here.
Right.
So with Rio, I was like, I don't want anybody around me. I don't want to see any doctor. Like, no, I don't want to see anybody.
Right.
And it was beautiful. It was the most intuitive. Connection with myself, the internal work, the listening. I remember messaging you, hey, Madison, I think this baby's going to come on this day. You're like, oh, I've been thinking that day too. And like, sure enough, baby came on that day. And that's just the power of being connected to your intuition and really knowing, oh, this is my intuition speaking to me. And
feeling attuned.
Yeah.
Because the baby's at a certain level of consciousness, right? And I think what we're missing here is how we must remember that as women, we can also get to that place of consciousness where our baby is at, and we meet them there. And then we travel through the ethereal realm during the birthing experience and just get to that place where we're there, we're working together.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of like the theme for today. It's just like the interruption and the agenda that is placed upon women really can interfere with them getting to that level of consciousness where they get to meet their baby and move through the portal together. Mm-hmm. And it's like when you have people in the space that you love and trust. So with Rio, you had your partner, and he was tending to the children, and you had one of your best friends there who was also tending to the family. Mm-hmm. And then I was blown away with the amount of beauty during the whole birthing space. It was just this like waterfall of trust and we're good here. No issues, no worries. And another story I'll tell about working with you, Sammy, was I came to see you 1 week postpartum.
Yeah.
And okay, I know what you're gonna say, but like I opened the door, and you're just this glowing goddess standing at the top,
robe or something.
In a robe, standing at the top of the staircase, and your hair is glowing and your skin is glowing. You're just holding your little baby. Aww. And you're still in that bubble of oxytocin, right? And you literally just start floating down the stairs with her. She's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, wow. Like, wow. Yeah. You're amazing. You're such an inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, such a wise woman.
Thank you.
Where did you find the courage to not hire any medical care providers? Was there like a higher power that you were praying to? Because I want to talk about that energy. Like, how can women find trust in their body and trust in their baby outside of the system?
I think it's a process that starts long before they even conceive the baby. It's just that faith and, you know, having full trust in a source, in a higher power, and being connected, like doing the work to stay connected on a daily basis so that you can receive the messages when they need to come in, so that and I think all babies have their birth plan and they'll let you know how they want to come. So it's like, even if you have certain details or you have these expectations of how you want things to go, it could go completely different. And then that's okay. I just think if that connection isn't there, then you won't be able to open, like you won't be able to hear those messages clearly and actually be like, okay, I in tune with that and I can receive that. Right. So for me, it was just like almost like a download that I received. That was like, it was very much like, okay, well, first of all, we lived in West Vancouver. We lived in this like foresty nestled house that it was kind of farther away from any sort of midwife or care. I had 2 children. I didn't have time to be like going to appointments once a month, doing all the things. And I had this feeling of like, this baby doesn't need anything other than me. Right. And the family that it's in and that was that. And I fully trusted, and it's a beautiful experience, but I feel, you will know if it's for you.
Right.
That message will come through and it's just, okay, what can I do to be fully connected and be able to hear those messages?
Right. And one thing that I talk a lot about in my Dream Birth online program is the number one thing, is tuning into our intuition. This is how we feel empowered during the birth. So even if we do have to transfer to the hospital and something is telling me during my birth that like my baby needs help or my body really needs help or I just can't fucking do this anymore.
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
Then you listen to that. And
Absolutely.
then you get the help and you're happy you did it. And you made a choice that was coming from your heart space, and you weren't influenced by anybody in the birth space to make that decision. It was you who came to that decision, and that's starting a woman off into motherhood on the right foot.
Because that's what it's all about, right? You just fully have to trust that intuition at all times, and you're going to be bombarded all the time as a mom, right? Do this, do that, do this, do that, and your baby chose you, right? So,
and you get to know them through your birthing portal.
Oh yeah.
So we were talking about this before we went on air. It's just like the personality of the baby really comes through during the process of birth.
Absolutely.
When we're given the space to listen.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. When you're in your full, wholehearted body and you're just experiencing everything with all of your senses, and you can just witness, okay, and you see it. It's so clear. My 3 births, like, Ocean came and it was wild. It was a wild birth, but all natural, home birth, everything good. But I felt like I was just like there was
crashing with every wave.
Yes. Yeah. There was no like chill. And that's how he is. He is like so high energy, like, do this, do this, do this. And I love him. That's who he is, right? And total full experience. And Gia, same. She was so chill. Like, I couldn't even believe I was ready to push. And then pushing came and it was intense. And that's how she is. She's total free spirit, independent. Barely even know she's around sometimes. And then it's like, I am here, right? Just totally sets the tone. And Rio is just so chill.
Very chill.
He is so chill. He has his like little moments, but if you talk to him and he's just like, okay, mama.
He's like Om Shanti
Yeah,
Shanti.
yeah, literally.
Like at Waldorf School, just like
Yeah.
Om Shanti Shanti.
Yeah, that's his favorite song.
But he's also a reflection of you. As this divine mother figure, you're setting the stage and showing by example, this is how we lead our lives in this family. And it's obviously very peaceful. You're very chill, very Om Shanti Shanti. And no wonder your kids are like that. It just makes sense.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a wild parenting ride. It's amazing though. It's just, you learn so much.
Can you share with me your morning routine?
It changes. It all depends because I teach a lot of virtual classes in the morning in Colombia. So there'll be some mornings where I get up at around 5. I do a little walk outside our property. We live in this jungle. Say hello to the cows, the chickens. And then I have this little platform where I teach from, and it overlooks these incredible trees. And I'll sit down and center, ground, do a meditation. And then I start teaching at 6 and I teach for 1 hour. And then I come down, and by that point, my husband's usually been up with the kids. Well, the 2 older ones. Rio sleeps a little bit longer, making French toast or something. And then we usually eat together, or they've already ate, depending on how long they've been up for. And then we usually get them ready for school. Rio wakes up, have some cuddle time with him, get him ready, and that's usually our mornings. And then if I'm waking up with the kids, it's kind of like the same. We get up. There's always one of us usually meditating so like Clay will take some time and I can get them up and get them more ready, and then he'll join us after. And then if it's not him, it's usually me. But
so they see that sacred time with self at either in the morning or whatever time of the day.
Whatever is. Yes.
And are they allowed to like come up and poke you while you're in your space, or do they have to just be quiet?
I mean, trying to make them just be quiet is impossible, but I think that if you're already on this path and you have kids, you are on a highway to enlightenment, because meditating on its own is difficult for some people. Now try meditating with 3 children trying to dangle off of you. Mom, 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 opening your eyelids, doing all the things to distract you. And you're just like, okay, why am I doing this? Why am I meditating? Like, the real purpose is so that I can center, I can ground, I can observe, I can come from a place of, I can separate myself and I can observe. And if I just get angry, or if I'm just like, hey, like I'm trying to do this right now, like leave me, that defeats the whole purpose of the meditation. So it's just embracing it as it comes. So there are moments when they just leave us and they just do their own thing. And there's other moments when they don't, and they just like want to open your eyelids and scream in your ear or do whatever. They just want your attention in that moment. And that's okay. That's, like I said, that's the learning experience. And you just have to, like take some deep breaths, and I can come back to this after, or what have you.
You're working on that muscle of reactivity,
Totally.
right? So I think that's what separates like a level of consciousness within within different people. If they're super highly reactive, and like it's about emotional intelligence. So if someone's super highly reactive, clearly they're not centered. Yeah. They're probably still spinning from something that happened a couple days ago.
Totally.
Whereas if you are the kind of person who sits with self every day, you realize that, that stuff that happened a couple days ago is affecting me. Yeah. I need to breathe through that and let it go.
Yeah.
So that this moment doesn't bother me. And Gia coming in and poking my eyeball is like, whatever, just crawl into my lap and be with me and breathe with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to freak out at you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a long, like it's not easy for everybody, right? To be able to do that. It's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm totally reliving the experience that I had 3 days ago, or a month ago, or a year ago, or 10 years ago, right? That's just part of like the human experience.
And you have to give yourself space to feel those things. If you're not giving yourself that designated time to go inwards, whether it's like sitting there, Om Shanti Shanti, or like doing your like cooking meditation or your walking meditation, we need to be giving ourselves the space to feel.
yes, that is number one thing everybody should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like-
you fully embodied it. Right? Birthing real, like she's like, you guys, she's in the sun with a
oh
shawl.
my God, shades on.
With you're like a celebrity, right? She's like in the sun, just like basking in father sun.
Oh,
and
the
swaying.
Yeah, Krishna Das.
Ram
Ram
Dass.
Das and Krishna. Yeah. Oh,
It was so good.
so good. Ram Das. I love you, Ram Das. I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the codes that baby Rio is receiving during the emergence process of his experience here on the planet.
Yeah.
So, and now he's Om Shanti Shanti in Waldorf, meditating throughout the day.
Yeah.
Calming everybody else
Yeah.
down.
Like we go to ashrams. I've taken them to the ashrams together. Like they're fully submersed in my lifestyle. And it's not, and I love that, because when I first became a mom, there was almost a part of me that was like, oh, I'm going to go do this and you're going to be with grandma or what have you. And it was separate. And I'm like, no, like this is who I am. And the moment I really started like incorporating, yeah, like we're doing this. It's not like you're going to be there, I'm going to be here. It's like we're all doing this. It's just such a beautiful thing, because it's really, that's what they're here for. They're here to learn that from me and be a part of it.
Well, I mean, they're an extension of you.
Yes.
Like you and Cole are like, they're just like your DNA replicated. So it's like, even if they were with grandma, they're still going to want to be doing what you're doing, because they potentially feel more connected to
Yeah.
you. Right.
Yeah.
You're doing some amazing work in Colombia, and I love knowing you and being a part of your life and seeing you on socials.
Amen.
And
I love you too.
all the cool work that you're doing. So please share with me like the vision that you have moving forward and what it is that you're calling in.
Yeah. So my dharma, to help mamas, to help them feel better in motherhood, and just, drop the drama, drop all of that unnecessary worries, the guilt, the what's going to happen, I'm a shit mom, what have you, and just start embracing this highway to enlightenment, because that's what motherhood is. And in Colombia right now, we've created these conscious family gatherings where families come together. We have cacao, we do yoga, moms have a moment to themselves, dads have a moment to themselves. We do a dance party, and just truly supporting women, supporting their family, and being able to raise this collective consciousness and have kids be a part of, something that's truly going to help them.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Because here we are at a pivotal moment in humanity where you're either stuck in old ways, you're sick, you feel like crap, you're bogged down, or you're in this place where you're kind of in between, like trying to figure out where you want to go.
Yeah.
Or you're way over here and realizing like this is healing the planet. Sitting in circle with people that I love, having conversations that make me feel good, drinking my cacao,
Yeah.
and like doing yoga with my kids. Like this is the new earth.
Totally.
Yeah.
Raising your vibration. Like you are a battery. You have to be connected with all of those things that are going to recharge you. And it's just so necessary. It's so necessary. And I always say, like, there is that transition phase for women. Like, you just gave birth. You are reborn yourself. You're going to have a time where you're like, what the fuck? What's going on? Who am I? What am I doing? What happened to my old life? And it's beautiful. Like those are the moments that you want to have, because that's when you are literally like coming out of that cocoon and ready to spread your wings and fly into like the best version of yourself.
So in your circles, do you often have, are you debriefing births, or are you focusing on how can we keep our kids happy and healthy and safe, or what are...
I mainly just focus on moms. So how can we be in our best state? How can we be out of this stress state and truly embrace your new dharma as a mother and be in full alignment so you can show up as the mom you want to be. And I always say this, I'm like, I ask every mom, what kind of mom do you want to be? And what do you have to do to show up as that mom? Because we have all these expectations in our heads, and then we comes to the day to day and you're like, well, you're not living in alignment. Like this, like I'm reacting and I'm having, well, it's like, well, because like, if you want to be this kind of mom, you probably have to do some things for yourself and work on yourself and find external support and do things that might freak you out. But that's all part of the process. And so, yeah, just focusing on moms. Moms, what do you need to do to be in full alignment, be in that good headspace, body space, so that you can show up and be the mom you want to be?
I'm hearing within you this sense of knowing, and also it's important for mothers to be extremely clear with themselves what they want.
It's the most important question you can ask yourself as a mom.
As they're preparing for birth, seeing in their mind, giving themselves the time to sit and see in their mind, what do I want? Letting the universe know, like, this is what I'm calling in.
Yeah.
Should there be some hiccups along the way, we're going to deal with that and just go with the flow. But this is kind of the ideal situation. And what can I do to achieve that?
Yeah.
Right? And just ask spirit, like, how can I do my push-ups and do my workouts to like prepare for this moment?
Yes.
Right? Either mental or spiritual workouts.
Whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I'm seeing that like thread in motherhood too. And having the space to come in a circle with women such as yourselves, it's like a mastermind, right?
Yeah.
Like you're sitting down with other women who are doing the work.
Yes.
And we need this.
And they're all so, I mean, we're all so incredibly unique. We all have these special gifts that we can bring to the table, and something that is going to help someone else. And so being in those circles where everyone has that little thing and they're connected to it and they can share it from a place of alignment is so beautiful. And I always say, like, we have these expectations while we're pregnant and we see things a certain way. And then we are blessed with the children that chose us. And it could be so completely different than what you had envisioned. And you're like, I said I wasn't going to do this. I said I wasn't going to do that. And you do it. And you're like, okay, well, what's going on here? Like, what am I actually needing to learn? What am I actually needing to see? Like, why have I been gifted or blessed this scenario, this situation where I'm being triggered, where nothing is going as planned? And it's because there's work to be done. There's healing that needs to be done. And it's like the greatest gift and the greatest blessing. So I always say, like, yeah, like everything is perfect. No matter what your situation is, no matter what you're going through, like just literally take it as the biggest blessing for you to go deep and see that, hey, like there's something here for me to let go. Like for me, there was so much from when my mom had me and was raising me alone, like very like, you know, in a foreign place to her. And I experienced so much of that with Ocean, like my firstborn. It was, and then I remember having like an aha moment, and I was like, I am reliving my mom's experience, and
Whoa.
I am fully taking on the same hurt that she had, and the blame, and just like the guilt and all of these things, and I'm giving that to my son like the same way she did to me. I was like, oh wait, this gotta stop, right? But I could have kept going on like that, and you're just like repeating the cycle, and it starts from the get-go, right? And it's like, okay, like that's why we need to be in alignment. We need to be awake. We need to be doing the work so that this can stop. And it's not just, it's everything. It's everything. So, yeah.
Thank you for being so aware, and realizing like, actually, this pattern is not going to serve our family anymore.
Yeah.
So we could let it continue down the lineage.
Totally.
Or we could this is where it ends.
Mm-hmm.
And you're transmuting that. And then you have another baby and another baby. And then you're this glowing goddess killing it.
Yeah.
And there was a practice you shared on socials recently. I can't remember the name of it, but your body is amazing and beautiful, and you just everything about you, you exude beauty. And there's a practice that you're sharing that you do where it's like you see in your mental mind yourself, or your body, like your ideal body or your ideal hair or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah. So I'm like a master Silva method technique meditation and like nidras. Nidras are the shit. If you haven't done nidra, you need to do nidra. And as pregnant women, like I relied so much on nidra because I had 2 kids. Well, especially with Rio, 2 kids. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, actually. It's time for bedtime. I want my time. So I just plug in and would go to sleep. But I'd be listening to a nidra, which is literally reprogramming my whole subconscious mind. So anything that I want to achieve, anything that I desire in my life, I visualize. And Silva Method's all about visualization and picturing in your mind's movie, where do you want to be? What do you want? How can you step into that movie and truly be that person? What are you feeling? What emotions are you experiencing? What are the people around you saying? What are the colors you're seeing? What are the flavors you're tasting? In so much sense detail that you're actually living this experience and it comes true.
Wow.
Because you can alter your reality. Yeah.
Dude, that is so cool. So you're just like laying there, seeing yourself shifting and morphing, and your cells are like, okay, that's what we're doing now.
Yes.
We're shifting and morphing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Joe Dispenza, like all these, it's reality. It's let your mind be a servant, not your master, and, train it well.
Knowing you is one of the coolest things of this timeline that I'm in right now. And I can't wait to like FaceTime you when I'm going into the portal.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. Pray for me.
I'm so excited.
Right? This is what's so cool about being a birth worker is just like, I feel like I've been collecting all this interesting karma and like beautiful, beautiful omens.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like every maiden needs that. Like every young woman should sit with women in birth.
Yeah. No, I think you are totally on a completely different level of so many women and so blessed on that aspect because it's so true. It's, birth needs to be talked to like, this is a whole nother thing, but like women need, like from a very young age, we need to be taught about how beautiful having a period is. What a blessing it is to be a woman, how healing it is to bleed, how powerful you become when you are on your moon, what a magic thing that you have a portal between your legs that will literally bring spirit through into humanity. But like, no one's talking about it. Kids aren't learning about this at school. Kids aren't learning about this.
Well, it's a very powerful energy.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful like energies on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And this power of creation.
Yeah.
Yes, we need our men to help us in this creation.
Yes.
Very supportive. And thank you. Thank you, men, for stoking the fire, for keeping the house warm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm just in here praying that all is well and ensuring that the household is organized and taken care of.
Yeah, everyone's fed.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also, I might birth another one. So bring me food because I'm a goddess. Yeah, I was in the bathroom. I'm bleeding right now. And
Me too.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. I was just like standing at the sink. I knew she was coming. I could feel her. And then you just feel that like warm sensation. This like beautiful, beautiful elixir of life, like moving down my leg. And blood's just like splashing on the bathroom floor. And I just smile.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like this is so incredible. Like the power of life that I have, this intracellular matrix of creation. And my body's like reminding me like, bitch, you powerful. Yeah.
So powerful.
I love it. So tell me about bleeding in the postpartum. because I've had a lot of questions around like what is the normal amount of blood? And when it comes to loss and miscarriage, some women bleed for weeks on end.
Well, do you remember I was with Rio? It was like, but it was, I think I was bleeding like 8 weeks out. I was still having some bleeding.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's happening there? The download that I'm getting through this. Okay, sorry, I'll let you go.
No, go ahead. What's the download?
I just feel like our blood is moving through a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Cellular proliferation, regeneration.
Yeah.
And maybe the more children we have, there's like more mending in the womb space that's necessary. But also what I was told by my mentor and beautiful elder, she goes, if your clients are still birthing after their baby is born weeks later, you need to sit down with her and tell her to get back in bed.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's literally it. So that is it. I mean, I had 2 other kids and I was literally doing everything. Like I had help, obviously, like meals were getting cooked and things like that, but I'm still a mom. Like my kids still want me, Mom, let's go to the park. Mom, let's play. Mom. And you want to be there for them. You don't want that transition to be like, oh, mom had a baby and then she just like went and laid down for a full month. Like that's hard on them, especially when they're so young. They don't have that level of comprehension. So I did a lot and I bled for a very long time. I didn't give myself enough time to heal with Rio. I am fully aware of that. But also I just felt like a superwoman. So I was like, let's just get to this. We can do it.
You must be so nourished. Like, because to have the energy, like, yes, we're bleeding and like maybe you should have lied down a little bit more.
Yeah.
But obviously like you were eating the foods and taking good care of yourself.
Always.
Nutritionally, right? Because
always.
Like unless if you're just eating McDonald's, like you probably wouldn't have been able to get out of bed.
I'm incapable. I mean, it's not that like, I mean, sure, I can have McDonald's if that's what everyone is having. But I mean, I suffered from a very bad eating disorder when I was younger that left me in the hospital for 6 months. And I learned intuitive eating. And I didn't actually heal from that until I gave birth to Zane. And I'm fully aware of that. But you just really have to be in tune with what foods make you feel good, what foods don't make you feel good, and be conscious while you're eating. I'm not like mindfully stuffing my face while I'm working. I'm not like walking and eating. I'm not driving and eating. I'm sitting down. I'm blessing the food I have in front of me, whatever it may be. I'm taking mindful bites while I'm eating. I'm truly connecting with what's in my mouth and what's nourishing my body. And sometimes, hey, that's not sitting well right now. Like I'm not going to eat that. And that is key. Like so important.
We are what we eat.
Totally. And food is medicine. Yeah. Food is just so important. And not eating like fasting, like giving your body space and time to like just feel it, observe it, connect with it, and love it. I love food. But I love good food.
I've been making these protein balls. And the process of gathering the ingredients that I feel like I'm going to need in these balls for the week. So I've been sitting down with myself each week and like, oh, I feel like I really need some maca in my diet this week, or I really need some ashwagandha in my diet this week. And it's so easy. Like it's just like lentils, peanut butter, and whatever else I feel like I need. And then the process of kind of making them with my hands and just in that meditative space, I'm like, this is going to heal. It's going to help my body. It's going to help my mind. Just shove them in the fridge. Greg just comes home and he's like, pop, pop, pop. These are great. These are good, great, like amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like they're good because I put a lot of love into them, right?
Yeah, of course.
These protein balls, a mama taught me about them. She's like, they were the only thing that sustained me in my postpartum because I was busy with my other kid. And just to have these little balls in the fridge and here and there in the corner, like have one that's like half eaten on the couch, like perfect.
I survived off lots of protein balls off postpartum as well. Peanut butter, chocolate, oats. Yeah. All the good things.
You guys called it I remember Num Nums.
Oh, yeah. For the oatmeal, right?
You just gave birth and you're like in bed with this new baby. So I was like, I'm just going to go get the Num Num started. And all the kids, they just know like that's our oatmeal in the morning. It sounds like you guys are still kind of practicing that. Like just breakfast is a big deal for you guys.
I think food, like whenever we have meals, it's like we all sit down, we say a prayer before we eat, thanking, Mother Earth for this food that we've been given, and let us enjoy the company that we're in, and teaching them to, sit around a table and eat with people. And it's not just like, oh, we're going to eat and run, we're going to eat. And we did all of that for a while where it was like kids were running and eating. And I was like, this is not going to work. And then no one's being nourished. Yeah.
So today's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
What's your wish?
Oh, what is my wish?
For yourself, for your family, and which is just there's a ripple effect for the collective.
I'm going to sound like a beauty pageant, but I always just wish for peace, and like just peace and harmony, peace, love, and light for all, for me, for my family. That is really always my wish. And yeah, just peace.
Shanti, shanti.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love you.
I love you too.